Today I want to walk you through 21 small Japanese habits, the tiny daily practices that make a body healthier, a mind calmer, and a face more radiant from the inside out. None of them are grand, none of them cost very much. They are the ordinary things we do here between sunrise and sleep, the ones my grandmother did without ever calling them a routine. Sit with me a while, slow down, let me share them with you, one gentle habit at a time. Here is something worth knowing before we begin. The long life and the youthful skin so many people admire in Japan are not simply a gift of blood and genetics. In a 2021 study out of Duke University, researchers compared Japanese people living in Japan with Japanese people who had moved abroad. The ones who stayed in Japan, on the whole, tended to live longer, same ancestry, different daily life. So it was never only the genes, it was the habits, the way people here eat, move, rest, and care for themselves, day after ordinary day. That is the quiet promise of this whole idea. You do not need to overhaul your life. You do not need to become someone else. You only need to gather a few small practices, the kind that fit into the cracks of a normal morning, and let them do their patient work over months and years. The elders never wrote most of these down. They simply lived them and passed them along in the doing rather than the telling. My grandmother would have laughed to hear anyone call these a method. To her, they were just the shape of a good day, as plain as sweeping the step or bowing to a guest. Today, I will hand them to you the way they were handed to me, slowly and with love. My name is Kenji Sato, and I was raised by my grandmother in the old Japanese ways, learning these tiny daily habits at her side. So if this is the sort of wisdom you want more of, consider subscribing. It's free, and you can always change your mind later. Now, back to that first quiet habit at dawn. The first habit is bringing your hands together. Good morning. Let me ask you something. Do you press your palms together during the day? Here in Japan, we do it often. When we give thanks, when we visit a shrine, when we sit down to eat. For years, I never thought about it, and then one morning I noticed what it actually does. The moment my two hands meet, my mind seems to settle. Try it now, wherever you are. Bring your palms together softly. Do you feel a little steadier already? In the old Eastern way of seeing the body, the right hand is yang, active and giving, while the left hand is yin, receiving and still. When they touch, energy is said to flow between them and circle gently through you. That is why it feels grounding. So when you are annoyed, or foggy, or rushing, stop and bring your hands together. The second habit is dry towel rubbing, what we call kanpumasatsu. It cannot be simpler. You take a dry towel and rub your skin with it, gently, before you wash. The soft friction wakes the surface of the body and is thought to improve circulation. And old wisdom says it helps keep colds away. I have heard that in some schools, children used to do this outdoors in the cold air, standing in rows before class, not only for health but to build a little inner strength as well. Rub toward the heart, the old teaching says, along the arms and legs and across the back, until the skin turns faintly pink and warm. You do not need the cold or the courtyard. Just rub your arms, your chest, your legs with a dry towel before your morning shower, and feel how the skin comes alive under your hands. The third habit is the practice we simply call yoku, which means bathing. But we do not only bathe in water, we bathe in many things. Kaisui yoku is sea bathing, Shinrin yoku is forest bathing, Nikko yoku is sunbathing, Gekko yoku is bathing in moonlight, New yoku is the ordinary bath. We hold that anything with yoku in its name feeds your health, because you are taking in the living energy of nature. Forest bathing especially has been studied for the calm it brings. The term Shinrin yoku was given a name in Japan in the early 1980s, and since then researchers have watched how time among trees can soften the pulse, lower the stress that hums in the blood, and ease a tight mind. The trees breathe out their own oils into the air, and we breathe them in, and something in us steadies. And yet these days, so many of us practice a different kind of bathing, sitting in the glow of a screen for hours, the light thin and flat and endless. When you feel that pull, step outside instead. Bathe in real light, in moving air, in the green. The fourth habit is going barefoot at home. When I lived in Australia, I kept my shoes on indoors, the way people did there. Coming home to Japan, setting my bare feet on the floor again felt close to heavenly. The soles of the feet are crowded with nerve endings, so full of feeling that some people call the foot a second heart. Walking barefoot stirs all of that awake. Every different surface, the cool, smooth wood, the soft weave of a tatami mat, the grain of a doorway, speaks to the soul and asks the small muscles of the foot to wake and work. It helps the body relax and find its balance, and it keeps the feet themselves strong and sure. So at home, slip off your shoes and let your feet meet the ground, and notice for a moment everything they can feel. The fifth habit is 5 minutes of cleaning in the morning. Here, cleaning is not only about tidying a room, it is about tidying the mind. We believe the room and the heart are joined. When the space around you is cluttered, your thoughts feel cluttered too. This is an old feeling here. In the Zen temples, the monks treat the daily sweeping and wiping not as a lowly task, but as part of the practice itself, a way of polishing the heart while you polish the floor. So before you reach for your phone and start scrolling, give 5 honest minutes to a small cleanup. Wipe a counter, straighten a shelf, open a window, and let the morning air move through. Watch how clearing the space seems to clear something inside you as well. The sixth habit is miso soup and fermented foods. Japan is a paradise of fermentation. Some people say that half of a Japanese person is made of fermented food, and there is more truth in that joke than you might think. A healthy gut makes a healthy body and a settled mind. In our language, the word hara means the belly, and we fold it into the way we speak about feeling and character. That is fitting, because many of the substances that shape our moods, serotonin, dopamine, GABA, melatonin, are made in large part in the gut. My first recommendation is miso soup, a true Japanese superfood. Miso is soybeans fermented slowly with koji and salt, sometimes for a year or more, until it holds a whole world of living cultures. Beside it on our table sit natto, tsukemono pickles, and soy sauce, each one born of the same patient fermenting. Some call miso soup a morning cleanser for the body. Certain studies even suggest it may help lower the risk of some cancers. A warm bowl in the morning is a small and ancient medicine, and it asks so little of you. The seventh habit is a fermented drink, taken slowly and with care. Long before bottled tonics, we made emezake, a sweet drink fermented from rice, thick with the gentle work of koji. Others across Asia fermented plants and roots for months, even years, until the liquid held vitamins, minerals, and living enzymes. And mosaic was once so common that vendors sold it warm on the streets in summer, where people drank it to keep their strength up through the heavy heat. People reach for such drinks, especially during a fast, when the body wants nourishment that is easy to take in without weighing it down. I am not asking you to buy anything, and there is no product I want you to seek out. I am simply pointing to an old idea that a fermented sip, sweet or sour, can be food and comfort at once, and that the living cultures in it are kind to the gut we spoke of before. If you have a traditional fermented drink of your own, treat it as a small daily ritual rather than a chore. The eighth habit is choosing rice over bread. For years I ate bread every morning quick and easy. Lately I have gone back to rice, and the biggest reason was to lean away from gluten. My digestion grew easier and my energy held steadier through the day without the mid-morning slump. Rice is patient food. It sits gently in the stomach and releases its energy slowly, without the sharp rise and fall that white bread can bring. And when there is some left over, I press it into onigiri, a little rice ball wrapped in a strip of seaweed to carry with me, so nothing is wasted and lunch is already made. The ninth habit is chewing well, close to 100 times a mouthful. When I am in a hurry, I catch myself almost drinking my food, swallowing it half chewed. A samurai would have seen that as a sign of a scattered mind. Chew 100 times, they would say. The old warriors practiced mindful eating, keeping themselves in the present moment through the simple rhythm of the jaw. And there is plain sense in it too. Chewing well begins digestion right there in the mouth, breaking the food down and mixing it with saliva so the stomach is asked to do less. It also gives that late signal of fullness the time it needs to arrive, so you naturally eat a little less and enjoy the taste a great deal more. So slow down, count if you must, even to 100. Let each mouthful become soft and small before it goes down, and taste it fully while it is there. The 10th habit is skipping dessert and stopping at harahachibu. Here, sweets after a meal are not an everyday thing. Leaving the dessert aside makes it easier to stop while you are still a little hungry. At harahachibu, 80% full. That phrase comes from a health text more than 400 years old, the Yojo-kun, written by Kaibara Eikiken, a scholar of the Edo period who studied how ordinary people might live long and well. Eat lightly, he taught. Stop at 80% and your years will lengthen. The wisdom in it is simple. The signal that tells the brain you are full arrives late, a good while after the stomach has had enough, so the person who eats to the very brim has almost always eaten past their need. Stop a little early, and by the time the fullness catches up, you land in exactly the right place. It is one of the oldest and wisest instructions we have, and it costs nothing at all. The 11th habit is morning matcha. This one belonged to my great-grandmother who lived to 96. No matter how full her day was, even sitting in the car, she made time to whisk a bowl of matcha in the morning. I carry my own matcha set with me now. I take a slow breath, I thank myself in my heart for the day ahead, and I whisk the finest cup I can make, just for me. Matcha is kind to the body, rich and green, full of the gentle strength the tea leaf gives. It carries an amino acid called theanine, which the monks have long valued for the way it brings a calm, wakeful attention, alert but never jittery. Yet the truer gift may be what it does for the spirit, the small ceremony of stopping to heat the water, whisk the froth, and make something with your own hands before the day can pull you away. My great-grandmother understood that. The making mattered as much as the drinking. The 12th habit is upright posture, what we call ritsuyu. In the tea ceremony and in the martial arts, posture is treated as sacred. You align the spine, you let the head rest lightly above it, and something in the mind straightens too. When the spine is upright, the thoughts grow clear. The educator Shinzo Mori put it plainly, when your posture is aligned, your mind becomes aligned. And when the mind is aligned, your words and your actions follow. There is truth in it that you can feel at once. An upright spine opens the chest and lets the breath run deep and full, and a full, easy breath is the ground of a calm mind. So sit tall as you listen. Lift the crown of your head as if a soft thread drew it toward the sky, and let the shoulders fall. Feel how attention gathers when the body stops slumping. The 13th habit is skipping lunch now and then. In older times, people in Japan often ate only 2 meals a day, and the body did well on it. I began skipping lunch on purpose sometimes, and I feel naturally lighter, as though the day itself is a small cleansing. My belly feels more at ease, and my focus sharpens through the afternoon. This is not about going hungry or punishing yourself, and it is not a rule for every day. If hunger comes, I eat a few nuts and let it pass. It is simply giving the digestion an occasional rest, the way you might rest a field between plantings, so the soil can gather its strength again. Listen to your own body, and let it be gentle. The 14th habit is umeboshi tea. It is almost too simple to call a recipe. You take a cup of hot green tea and drop in an umeboshi, a pickled plum. That is all. This one came down to me from my great-grandfather who drank it every single day and lived to 100. The umeboshi is said to help move the body toward a more alkaline balance, and the sourness wakes you up in the morning like nothing else, sharp and bright on the tongue. There is an old saying here that a plum a day keeps sickness away, and travelers once carried them for the long road, trusting the little sour plum to settle a tired stomach. He liked to change his tea with the mood of the day too, sometimes roasted hojicha, sometimes genmaicha with his toasted rice, a humble cup, and a long life beside it. The 15th habit is 30 minutes of empty time. In our traditional paintings, there is something called ma, deliberate empty space. The artist leaves part of the paper blank, not by accident but on purpose, because the emptiness is what lets the rest of the picture breathe and calms the eye. Your days deserve the same care. You do not have to fill every moment with doing and achieving. The music we love is made as much of the rest as the notes, and a life is the same. Leave a little of the paper blank. Even 30 minutes a day of unhurried, unplanned time is enough to let the heart settle. Sit, look out a window, watch the light change on a wall. Let the empty space do its slow and healing work, and resist the urge to fill it. The 16th habit is eating what you love, at least sometimes. There are people who believe that to be healthy you must go strictly gluten-free, or eat only vegetables, with no exceptions ever. I tried those hard rules myself, and the heaviest part was sitting with friends and not being able to share their food. There's a line in the Yojakun that has stayed with me. A diet with no joy will slowly weaken the heart. Sometimes it says, we must simply enjoy our food, so let yourself. Food is not only fuel for the body, it is also one of the plain joys of being alive. The 70th habit is saying one word before you eat, itadakimasu. Before a meal, we say it softly, itadakimasu. It is not a religious act. It is a habit of respect for the life on the plate, gratitude toward the animals and the plants, the farmers, the cooks, and the earth that carried it all to you. The word itself carries the meaning of humbly receiving, of taking something precious into your care. When I say it, I feel something steady, a sense that I will carry on and live because of the life I have been given. Children here learn it before they can read, hands together over the bowl. One small word said with real attention, and the whole meal changes from feeding to gratitude. The 18th habit is moving meditation. When we picture meditation, we imagine sitting perfectly still. But there is another kind, meditation in motion. The tea ceremony is the great example. Every gesture slow, deliberate, and full of attention. Everyday chores can become the same. Washing the dishes can be a meditation. If you rush through it, resentful, it stays a chore. But if you slow your hands and give the task your care, the warmth of the water and the shine of the clean bowl, it turns into a moment of calm you did not expect. The task does not change, you do. The 19th habit is the daily bath. This is Japan's deepest healing ritual, one that has kept people well for centuries. As you sink into the warm water and let your shoulders drop, circulation improves, the day's stress and tiredness loosen their grip, and the skin begins to glow with its own soft light. It is medicine you can feel. Here the evening bath is almost a sacred hour, the hot water drawn deep, the body scrubbed clean before you ever step in, so that the soak itself is purely for rest. The warmth loosens the muscles, and it seems to loosen the mind along with them, carrying off whatever the day pressed onto your shoulders. And if you have no bathtub, do not worry. A warm foot bath, an ashiyu, works wonders on its own. Fill a basin with hot water, sit and soak just your feet, and you will feel the warmth travel all the way up through you. The 20th habit is incense, what we call koyoku, or scent bathing. After my bath, I like to light a stick of incense and move through a little easy stretching. The scent seems to reach straight into the heart and make it glad, and the body follows the mind into ease. This practice of bathing in fragrance is old and much loved here. The appreciation of fine incense is an old art here, refined over centuries alongside the tea ceremony and the arranging of flowers, a way of listening to fragrance the way one listens to music. My own favorite is sandalwood, warm and gentle and deeply peaceful, the kind of scent that tells your whole self the day is done and it is safe to rest now. A single thread of smoke rising in a dim room can settle a heart faster than almost anything I know. The 21st habit is the one that holds all the others together, and we call it ikigai, your reason to rise in the morning. It is not a grand mission or a career. It is small and personal, the thing that makes you glad to wake, whether that is a garden to tend, a grandchild to greet, a craft to practice, or a cup of tea to share. Here on the island of Okinawa, where so many people live past 100, the elders speak of ikigai as plainly as they speak of breakfast. Everyone has one, they say, and it keeps them moving, useful, and connected to others long into old age. So ask yourself gently, what is the small thing that gives your day its meaning? Tend it the way you would tend a plant. All the other habits, the matcha and the bath, the bare feet and the empty half hour, they grow best in a life that has a quiet reason behind it. So there they are, 21 tiny habits, none of them hard, all of them old. Did any of them speak to you? Even just one. You do not need to take up all 21 tomorrow. Choose the single habit that felt warm as I described it, and let it into your morning. Then in a week or two, add another. That is how the elders did it, not in one great leap, but in small, patient steps, repeated until they became as natural as breathing. I hope that one little habit brings more health, more calm, and more of that inner radiance into your ordinary days. Sit with me again soon. Until then, slow down and be gentle with yourself.